There's a city in Central Europe that was first mentioned in print 800 years ago, according to Reuters News. It's part of the Czech Republic, also known as Czechia, and to mark its anniversary, people from all over Europe joined locals there last weekend to carry out one of the most uplifting uses for hot air, an international balloon fiesta. A new record was reportedly set in the country when 81 of these aircraft lifted up and away across the landscape. They brought color to the sky, smiles on the faces of passersby, and one of the pilots said because the city is beautiful and surrounded by meadows, fields, and large spots to land, it made for absolutely fantastic flying. While the first untethered balloons have been carrying people into the air since 1783, the more modern sport that brings together scenes like this dates back to the 1960s. This is The World from A to Z with Carl Azuz, and next we're going around the world in 80 seconds for a couple stories making global headlines. A political crisis has welled up in France. The nation's prime minister, François Bayrou, is expected to formally resign today after he lost a confidence vote by French lawmakers yesterday. Bayrou is not France's chief of state. That's President Emmanuel Macron. What Bayrou does as prime minister is head up the government's economic policies. He wanted to cut spending because the French government has a huge amount of debt, but lawmakers rejected those plans, forcing Bayrou out, forcing President Macron to appoint another prime minister. All this could weaken Macron's own position as the leader of France, and that matters because France holds a powerful position as Europe's second largest economy. Meantime, violent clashes in the southern Asian country of Nepal. A group calling itself Generation Z recently led thousands in protest against what they say is political corruption. They were also angry that the Nepalese government recently blocked certain social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and X. The government says these platforms have been misused to promote fake news, but the demonstrators accused officials of censorship. Nepal did remove the social media ban, but not before observers say at least 19 people were killed and hundreds were injured in fighting between protesters and security forces who said they used rubber bullets and water cannons against demonstrators. The situation's still tense.
Word of knowledge. Which of these generations is the largest in America? Baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z. Roughly defined as the generation born between 1981 and 1996, the millennial generation is currently the largest in the U.S.
But it's Gen Z, loosely defined as people born between 1997 and 2012 who are falling for unique online scams by people looking to steal money or personal info.
Gen Z has digital savvy but may lack the experienced eye that can spot a scam.
Gen Z, their digital fluency is their superpower, and it's also their blind spot.
In 2024, the Federal Trade Commission says younger people ages 20 to 29 reported losing money to fraud and scams more often than older people ages 70 to 79.
There's going to be emails that come to your inbox that might not be from who they say they are. That deal online for books might not be a real website.
With members of Gen Z headed to college campuses and responsible for more financial decisions on their own, Margarita Alvarez of Wells Fargo advises young consumers to verify who they trust, especially online.
Make sure that they're being very mindful of the interactions that they're making with any type of merchants, ensuring that they're viable, trusted institutions.
The Better Business Bureau's Melanie McGovern says text phishing and imposter scams that claim to be from a student financial aid office or offer a scholarship or promise a part-time job are popular among fraudsters and can swipe personal and financial data.
If it's something that's unfamiliar to you, you didn't sign up for it, the best thing to do is just delete it, get it off your phone so there's no temptation to go back and click on a link.
Also popular, rental scams. Asking for a credit card or a money transfer in order to see the apartment in person for the first time can be a red flag. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
On U.S. formally got its name on this date in 1776. The Continental Congress wrote that while the name United Colonies had been used up till then, the nation would officially be known as the United States going forward. This was also the date in 1791 when America's capital city was named Washington in honor of its first president. A U.S. rival also got its name on September 9th. In 1948, Korean dictator Kim Il-sung declared his country would be called the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, even though it was and remains a communist country. The DPRK is still the formal name of what's commonly called North Korea today. And this was the date in 2015 when Britain's Queen Elizabeth II became the longest reigning monarch in her nation's history. The previous record of 63 years and 216 days had been set by her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria. Elizabeth would go on to reign 70 years and 214 days before she passed away in 2022.
Where in the world? This is a nation that was once controlled by Spain and the U.S. It achieved its independence in 1902 and became communist in 1959 when Fidel Castro led the overthrow of the island's previous government. This is Cuba, a Caribbean country 90 miles south of Florida.
Sport fishing boats set out from Key West, Florida, while just 90 miles across the water in Cuba, fishermen are setting out too, just specks on a glimmering ocean. Can you imagine landing a fish like this onto a chunk of floating polyfoam the size of a small mattress? Because that's what some fishermen are using as boats off the coast of Cuba's capital city of Havana. These vessels are called corchos, made up of sheets of foam board fastened together. They're just large enough for a person and some fishing gear. Most use oars to get around or simply kick. The rafts look precarious, but the men say they have weathered even the roughest waves. Good thing, because for a lot of Cubans, it'll have to do. The price of even a small fishing boat is impossible to afford for an average Cuban family earning $25 a month, not to mention the cost of a license to fish from a boat. Tourists on charter boats would probably love to hook some of the fish the corcho fishermen bring in, but these guys are not at it for sport.
The situation is bad, very bad. We are providing food to an economy, to a market where there is no fish. With the little we catch, we provide for the family and for neighbors.
Day after day, hundreds of fishermen get up in the wee hours and wheel their rigs down to the water. They spend around 6 hours on the ocean, using homemade jigs like this one meant to imitate a squid. It's a challenging living, but corcho men are passionate about their livelihood, and they formed a close-knit community.
All of us here fish together. If something happens to one, the rest of us take responsibility for all. Nobody goes out alone.
Cuba has declined during its decades under communist rule. Many islanders are largely supported by money sent by relatives in the United States. But corcho fishermen show how ordinary Cubans continue to find creative ways to stay afloat.
There's a good chance that by the end of this week, we will have announced all 50 U.S. states this season. Today, we're visiting Vermont, where the Lakers are with us from Colchester. Miss Durnak's class, big hello to you at Colchester High School. We're making a stop in Big Sky Country next to soar with the Eagles of Sydney Middle School. Miss Bunn's class is in Sydney, Montana. And Mr. May's students are the Raiders of Reynolds High School. Great to have y'all watching from Troutdale, Oregon. To sum up our last story today, Surf's Pup. The 20th annual Dog-Surf-A-Thon was held last weekend at California's Del Mar Dog Beach. Organizers were expecting more than 50 four-legged wave riders to both hang 20 and raise money for a local animal rescue shelter. Professional surfers and enthusiasts judged them on everything from how well they rode to how much they seemed to like it. Top prize was Best in Surf, and there was a separate category for tandem rides. Of course, competition can be a dog-eat-dog paddle battle that easily goes to the dogs, especially when they're trying to get a leg up on the others with each kick out or exit through the doggy door. But as long as they stay on leash and watch out for the beach barks, you know the whole event's going to be so fetch. I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z, and we'll be barked tomorrow. Thanks for watching. You mean the world to me.